Would you rise, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We could remain standing and remember our men and women in the armed forces. It's Thanksgiving week. They'll be home and they're deployed. We could also remember Dookie Lent, Robert Johnston, and Chet Gosicki, all three local residents. Thank you. Yeah, he lived on Virginia, a real nice guy.
Great jazz.
He really was too. Okay. Don't have to forgive me, I forgot my glasses, and they're not made for me, but it helps. Anyway. We have bills and claims for fiscal year 2022 and 2023 of $347,291.69. I can tell you that $185,000 of that was work that's being done down at Ondior Park. That's a big chunk of it. New York State Municipal Workers compensation, almost $32,000. So there's reasons that we can't escape that the bills are high. Again, if I could have approval to pay the bills and claims.
Motion.
Motion by Brian, is there a second? Second by Gary, all in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. The minutes. Was everyone here for the 3rd and the 7th? What was the date we met with the chief?
17.
Okay, can I have a motion that we approve a special meeting that we had on the 3rd of November, 2022, and a regular meeting on the 7th of November, 2022? I have reviewed the minutes and they were done correctly.
So moved.
Motion by Trustee Guerrero and Trustee DeSalvo, all in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. May I have a motion that we approve another special meeting that we had on the 17th of November, 2022?
Motion.
Motion by Brian, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Trustee Guerrero. May I have roll call?
Trustee Guerrero?
Yes.
Trustee Allard?
Yes.
Trustee DeSalvo?
Abstain.
Trustee Phillips?
Abstain.
Mayor D'Onofrio?
Aye. Yes, motion carries. Next on the agenda is the authorization for the mayor to sign a right-of-way agreement with Sini Cutson Land Trust for a turnaround, which is on Regina Road, at the dead end of Regina Road, for snowplow trucks and other municipal vehicles on lands formerly known as ALO property, now owned by Sini Cutson. This is a joint venture between Sini Cutson and the Village of Highland Falls' DPW to make this turnaround so folks don't go on private property to turn around.
So moved. Second.
You have it, Jan? All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Next, I'm asking the board to appoint this part-time water plant operator, Christopher Dork, at $25 an hour and a maximum probation effective the 22nd of November 2022. Now, he works full-time for another water company in Rockland County, but he will help us with his second license and work when asked, especially on weekends. And we all know that Pablo Polito went to school. His last day is tomorrow, so I think he'll be back on Wednesday, and hopefully he passes, so then he'll have a license, so we'll have, plus Jack Sibley, who's up there, so we'll end up with, we need 2, we're gonna, I hope, end up with 3. So if we could approve this, it would be good.
Motion.
Motion by Trustee Guerrero, second?
Second.
Go ahead.
52 weeks, right? Probation or no? Max.
Yeah.
Is it the
Yeah,
max?
yeah.
That was it. Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Good. We have an appointment recommended by the chief for dispatcher, full-time dispatcher Caitlin Rodriguez at 19.0980, step 1 of a full-time dispatcher's contract and a 52-week probation effective tomorrow, November 22, 2022. There was an opening, the midnight dispatcher left, and we approved this, she'll fill that position.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes.
Can I have a discussion on this?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So, once again, we're back to having a local dispatch versus going to Orange County 911. And I'm going to remind the residents of the village that having our own local dispatch costs us over $450,000 a year. Okay? When we can actually have this, when we can actually have the real dispatch service with Orange County 911 for no additional cost. It's something that we're paying. You're paying that every time you pay your cell phone bill, every time you pay your landline, every time you pay your county taxes. Orange County Dispatch, also called Orange County 911, is a service to all of us. Fort Montgomery doesn't have their local dispatch. They have Orange County 911 dispatch. West Point has Orange County 911 dispatch. So does Cold Spring. And 93% of the country is on 911. So for us to hire, we had an opportunity here to actually go to Orange County 911 dispatch for the midnight shift. But what we're being told is that we either go all or none with Orange County 911, and that the union would not allow partial 911 coverage. Even though we've done it in the past, I believe when it was in a different era, like in the 2016, 2017 era.
That's accurate information.
I'm doing the police contract now. You may not change a contract in midstream. So we met with the lawyers on both sides, and that's why we hired that dispatcher. You cannot change a contract. It's an agreement. Therefore, we have to go back and discuss it and agree upon it. That's what unions and contractors do. That's why they have that person there. I was at the table, and they said unequivocally, you can't break the contract. You need to renegotiate.
So Brian, can I, so that people understand, in the past 10 months, we've been negotiating with the police union about the contracts. That includes the dispatch contracts,
Yes.
correct? And
And part-timers.
and part-timers, dispatch, full-time, and part-time police officers. And this is why we're at the negotiation table once again. When dissolution was happening, it was promised to them before dissolution that certain members of the board, one in particular promised the PBA to get their endorsement, 16% increases, 15% increases, 6% increases, okay? During the dissolution phase, the PBA agreed to just a 2% increase all across the board, but they gave it an endpoint of just 6 months. So that time frame has lapsed. It's lapsed right after dissolution. So now we're at the negotiation table again, and I imagine that what they're wanting is what was promised to them before dissolution. And the cost to you, the villagers, on this negotiation is about $5,000 to $6,000 to $9,000 a month in labor attorney fees. Because a labor attorney has to be at that negotiation with you, Brian, at that negotiation table, trying to fight that increases in pay that we cannot afford. So it's costing the village thousands of dollars a month to just try to negotiate that contract. And this is a time for us to actually negotiate the contract where we say we either go all the way to Orange County 911 dispatch or keep our local dispatch. And you're at the table, Brian. So for some reason too, here's the other thing that's happening. Only one person is allowed to negotiate, one trustee is allowed to negotiate with the village attorney, with the labor attorney and the PBA attorney because of what happened 2 years ago when a specific trustee abused his power to negotiate with the PBA to get their endorsement in his run for mayor. So now it just seems to be a secret. I don't even know what's going on at the negotiation table. But I think it's an opportunity for us to save close to $500,000 a year.
Just a quick few.
Excuse me. This is a brand-new contract that has nothing to do with what was done a couple of years ago. It's brand new after the 2%. For those of you who have never been in a union, you need to negotiate. That's the facts of life. You need to negotiate. You just can't walk in and say, we're going to take you out. That's not the way it works. That's not the way it works. There's lots of issues going on. There's inflation, there's unemployment, there's gas prices, lots of things are going on. We are going to try the best we can to make sure that the residents are taken care of. On the other hand, you want protection, you want police, you got to negotiate.
Okay, listen, I have a motion and a second, and we're getting off the kind of, I'm gonna let you go, Jim.
Appreciate
But
it. Thank you.
No, you don't have to appreciate it. I'm gonna let you do whatever you're gonna do here, but we have to be careful with
I'll be quick.
going off the reservation a little bit.
Just so the folks know in the audience and at home, from now until March 18th, whatever election day is, we're going to start hearing little sound bites at every meeting. And every meeting, we're going to say a certain trustee, or we're going to say dishonest negotiation of a contract, or we're going to say, things that weren't done above board. There were two folks involved that were on the board involved in negotiating the contract. The contract was rejected by the board. I would say the process worked. And once again, I did not win the run for mayor. So again, I don't know what some trustees up here keep going on and on about, but I'm certain that every meeting, we're just gonna roll a grenade in the room instead of actually focusing on what we should be doing. And if you have any comments about what you'd like to see in the contract, once the contract's finished through the negotiation process, you can add those suggestions in at that time, when we all talk about it at a meeting. So again, from now until election day, we're just gonna hear nice, interesting stories. Like the Disney Corporation just got a new CEO, so I'm imagining they're going to touch up some of their old school movies to show a nice narrative, a nice tranquil thing. We're going to hear nice stories at every meeting now, so.
Yes, you're going to hear a lot of facts.
All right, I have a.
Your version of the facts.
I have a motion, and I have a second on the appointment of Caitlin Rodriguez. At probation is stated 52 weeks. Her pay is stated, step one. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
What do you,
You had a motion and a second already. You're
Yes.
just
Okay.
reading your vote.
okay, it was a while ago.
You
Okay,
had a motion by Alves and a second by
Oh,
DeSalvo. You just.
then let's stay with the first motion and the first second, okay? Thank you, I appreciate that. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Okay. You have it? Okay. Next on the agenda is a request from our police chief to go to a training, breath analysis operators training. It's in Middletown. It's for 2 days, January 23 and 24 and 25. Could we approve that, please?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, next we have a resolution, telecommunications facility zoning exemption. This is for the town's cell tower, which they're erecting, will be, or they have started, I'm not sure, at the town highway garage up on 9W. And this is the declaration for lead agency for telecommunication. If we could Elise has written this up, and this is what we should do, so. If there's any questions, I'll try to answer them, or not, a motion would be what I need.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second, thank you. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Can I
Oh.
have a roll, can I have a roll?
You can have roll call, roll call.
Trustee Guerrero,
Yes.
trustee Howard,
Yes.
trustee DeSalvo.
Yes.
Trustee Phillips,
Yes.
Mayor D'Onofrio.
Yes, thank you so much, motion carries. Okay, we have a letter from Jack Janarone, who's the chair of the ZBA. His term ends December 31, 2022, the end of next month. And I was a little worried as I started to read this, was he
I was too.
going to stay or not? And as I read on, he's looking to continue his public service. Jack is, he's very good at this. He's very good at a lot of things, but we're talking about this here. He's very, very good. So I recommend to the board that we reappoint him to a term that would expire December 31, 2027.
Happily.
Can we have a discussion?
Yes, yes.
Well, we need a motion in a second first. For discussion.
All right. May I have a motion?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
May I have discussion?
So, I agree. I think he's served in that capacity for a while. But, shouldn't we open it to other people in the public for them to apply for the position? I know that there was another applicant for the other two positions that were appointed by one, us, and then the other by the town. So if there's going to be an open position in December, why aren't we allowing other people to apply and see if they should be on it? I think there was a Deanne O'Brien who had applied twice, and it doesn't seem right that we should just give it to somebody without letting others know that there's going to be an open seat.
That's fair to say. I do have a motion and I do have a second, just to put that on the table, which can be rescinded now.
I know that the town actually even interviewed the two candidates who were applying before they picked someone. I know we didn't. We appointed Mr. Ramus without interviewing the other candidate, or at least if she was interviewed, I wasn't there. So maybe she wants to apply for this one.
What I do have on my desk, which what I'm going to say doesn't change this, is I have an opening, a term of a resident whose term is up on the planning board. That probably should be also advertised, but that doesn't address this. So I do have a motion, I do have a second. Is there any, you're going to hold with the motion? Okay. Gary?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it just seems wrong that we keep doing things like this, I think the people should know these are important positions of authority, and they go for a long period of time, 4 years term, and I don't know. I think the public should be more involved, but, okay.
All right. I have a motion and I have a second to reappoint Jack Janarone to the ZBA. You need roll call?
Do you want?
No.
You don't
All in
need it?
favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Okay. You have it? Okay. So, okay, next is to approve the low quote from McGregor Excavation and Landscaping for $23,500 for various sidewalk repair jobs. I can tell you one's on Muller, one's on Schneider, and I can't think of the third one. But the engineer has looked at all of these, went out and got the quotes for me, and this is the low bidder.
Muller, Maine, Schneider.
Oh, it's on here? Where is it? The Muller, Schneider?
It's on a.
Where's Maine? Okay, thanks. So could we approve this, please? These sidewalks are in desperate repair.
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. And that will come out of the highway department budget. Next, we have a low quote from Mellon Electric LLC for $2,950 for the replacement of 17 fixtures with LED lighting in the police station.
Motion.
Again, that will come out of the, this year's police department's budget. I have a motion, Brian. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, I have a low quote from Ellis Plumbing and Renovation Corp. for $4,000 to replace the cast iron sewer line in the Village Hall. And that's the reason the restroom outside is out of order, and it comes down into the conference room. That wall will have to, part of that wall will have to come down to replace the pipe. And then a new, of course, new wall and painting will go up. This has to be done, and it is the low bidder. May I have a motion?
And okay, they're doing all drywall, spackling, paint, the whole deal.
Yeah.
It's a good price, $4,000, but, yes, make a motion.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Thank you, motion carried. Next, I would like to have a motion that we cover the parking meters as we do each year for the month of December, hoping that people will shop local. It's for shoppers, it's not for the store owners or their workers or for the people who live on top of the stores, but it should be for the free parking for the month of December for shoppers. It would go till January 3, 2023. May I have a motion?
Make a motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, I have, next on the agenda is to go into executive session, and we're gonna go out here in a different room, so you all can stay here if you want. I don't think we're gonna be that long. I'll try that not to be that long, and then I can do your public comments, okay? So just hang out for, if you can't stay, you want to do something right now, I can do it too. It's up to you. Does anyone have any comments they were going to make tonight? No? Yes, yeah.
I'll wait, go ahead.
Okay.
I'll wait.
Okay, thank you. May I have a motion, we go into executive session?
Make a motion.
Motion by Gary, second by Jim, all in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Is there any further business? If not, I'll open the meeting up to the audience. Go ahead.
Okay. You want me to come up front?
Sure.
Ron Malik at 7 Perry Avenue. And I like Melanie's comment about opening up the posting for the zoning board of appeals to the general public. I've started to get involved with the village board, and other people should get involved. And you should encourage involvement by the residents, the taxpayers, the community. I just want to follow up on something that was mentioned in the past about the amount we're paying for like water license. Well, you know, was that $3,000 a week, and now it's down to $1,000 a week, and now we're going to get somebody $25 an hour. It all adds up. And I would ask the village board to put in some sort of process or procedures so that Trustee Phillips would have gotten a folder that says water license is running out in 2022. Or you know, so that he understands what's going on, and everybody who's overseeing, every trustee who's overseeing some department knows what's going on when and they'll be able to hand off information to the person who takes over after them.
Ron, I'll interject this. I've been here over 30 years, and there are different positions where you have to have a license, sewer plant, water plant. CDLs, truck driving, all that stuff are licenses, but water and sewer, it's up to the employee. This is the first time that's ever happened. That one
Well,
expired and we didn't know it.
It costs us money.
That's right.
All I'm
Yes,
all
it
I'm
did.
asking is for
Yeah.
the village to
We'll tighten that
have some
procedure up.
foresight looking forward.
You're right.
So that these
You're right.
things don't cost us money.
You're right.
Because it's costing us money. And I would encourage trustee Albert to be a good negotiator with this police contract. Going to County 911 could give them the raise they want, but, a 15% raise is kind of stiff these days.
No one's talking about a 50%.
Okay, consolidating the police with the town is also a hardball tactic in your negotiations. One other thing I want to say is that it was brought up in the last village board meeting about the election coming up. And I would hope that the village board realizes an election's coming up and that big decisions about the future of this community is left up to the residents and the taxpayers and the voters. Let's hear from everybody in the community about where you stand on certain issues, and let's let the voters decide what trustees should be working for us and what they stand for, because of what they stand for, and how they're going to run this community. Thanks for listening.
No problem. Anytime. Anyone? Yes, sir.
Michael Joyce at 12 Eagle Valley Road. Brian, as you know, I've been a union man like all my life. And look, I know you're doing a great job. But I've kind of heard it's been back and forth between, yourself and the lawyer that represents us and the police department. And maybe it's just a consideration, because like in the city, we've had some hard negotiations with our contracts, and the union felt, because it was in stalemate, they put it to arbitration.
Yeah.
So no, I'm just putting it out there, that because the only people that really win when you meet up and then you walk away, meet up and walk away, are the lawyers. So, how much is our lawyer getting each time that we have a meeting like this? You know what I mean? But look, I'm not any dispersions. It's just,
We don't want to go to third, because it's even more expensive. One of the issues that's really not being talked about is MOA. We're waiting for the MOA to come out, and then everybody on the board here will know, and the residents will know. Prior to that, the rumors that went on Facebook and everything else kept us longer negotiating. Well, we heard that you said this, we heard that you said that, or somebody's got a little group out in the thing, just don't know anything, and they're starting to put stuff on Facebook. So we're negotiating very closely now. When the MOA comes out, everybody will see it.
So sometimes though, to have everybody would like to get together and suss things out. But sometimes when you're entrenched, to have a third party, and that's what arbitration is all about, that's no vested interest on one side or the other. They can say, look, you guys can give here, you guys can give there. It's not all or nothing.
Right, we're doing that now.
Yeah. So I'm just putting it out
I
there.
agree with you.
As
But I agree that every person on this board ought to have some experience in negotiations.
That's,
I do.
yeah, that's true, and maybe,
Maybe the myths will stop.
And maybe what Melanie said about just having it all rest on your shoulders, go back to 2 people from the board.
I can take care of that tomorrow morning. I wrote it down. I can take care of it tomorrow.
And,
I can put 2 people in there just by saying there's gonna be 2 people.
and as for the last meeting, with the gentleman who's gone away to get his water license, did he have his test today, or does he have it tomorrow? How did it go?
Tomorrow's his last day, the 22nd. So I don't know when the test is. Can I assume tomorrow? Maybe. I don't know.
So, I just wanna, put the cards on the table. So if he gets his water license, and then he'll be in the store, and he'll be a work-in foreman, which is gonna save us money, and it won't take a working member off the field and have somebody behind the desk. So it's like a 2-for-1.
Yeah, I
He
don't,
knows the men,
yeah.
he's gonna work out in the field, and you're not paying, I don't know, what, somebody sitting behind the desk, or maybe the same position, just to push papers, what is that, 120 a year?
Well,
I don't know.
it'll be more than the foreman.
Right, so it would be optimum to go with the foreman, and hopefully he'll come back with his water license, and it's a done deal. All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anyone else? Yes.
Edward Fox, 427 Main. I just wanted the board, if they can explain to the public and myself, the difference between an emergency dispatch service and an answering service. I think, we're paying for essentially an answering service, and I think the public should know what the difference is and what they're actually getting when they pay for what we call a dispatch, which I think is a mislabel.
My husband and I are both physicians. We know the answer to this question, and I certainly know the answer to this question, which is why I've been pushing for us saving money, okay? We've been borrowing money at an astonishing speed since dissolution. And there are only 2 ways to have an endpoint to that. We either raise taxes or cut spending, or do both. And we're headed in that direction very, very quickly. So let me answer that question, okay? Unless somebody else wants to answer the question between the local dispatch, but we're calling dispatch here, and Orange County 911 dispatch. Does somebody else want to answer that?
No, okay.
Okay, I'll answer it. So I had this experience just 2 months ago, and I'll use that as an example. Our local dispatch here, 845-446-4911, is the police department. You can call that. If you're having an emergency and you call that number, the dispatcher in our police department has to, by protocol, call Orange County 911. Okay? In fact, our town ambulance requires it of them. If you called local dispatch here, 845-446-4911, because you're having chest pain and you can't breathe, they have, by protocol, have to call Orange County 911, okay? Because Orange County 911 dispatches Mobile Life, okay? So they dispatch an A ambulance. That A ambulance can intubate you, meaning put an airway. They can put an IV in, give you drugs. They can defibrillate you. They can do compressions. Our town ambulance corps can be the first one there. They do a lot of things, okay? So they have a lot of benefits for having a town ambulance corps. If they get there and they see that, no, you don't need Mobile Life, they can actually call Mobile Life and cancel it. They'll say, oh, she's short of breath, having an asthma attack. We can take this patient, doesn't need CPR, is not delivering a baby. We're going to take this patient, so you don't have to come. We'll take them to St. Luke's. And if you're a local resident, you don't have to pay the ambulance a payment, which is usually $800, just to take you from your house to the ambulance. So that's one of the advantages. The other thing they can do, like I said, is triage. They're the first ones on the scene, and they can say, you don't need Mobile Life, okay, cancel. They can also be a bridge. So before Mobile Life gets there, if they get there and you really are an emergency, they can do CPR on you, they can do mouth to mouth, they can even defibrillate you until Mobile Life gets there. Okay.
So does that mean the only way to get to a town ambulance is through Orange County 911?
That's what they want, that's right.
So
That's right.
Your local dispatch is just an extra phone call?
That's exactly right. It's actually an additional minutes. Because when you call them, they have to call 911. So it actually is not life-saving. Not only that, they can't talk you through if you are in a situation where there's an intruder in your house and you can't talk and you have to be quiet and you have to text.
Essentially, you're getting an answering service.
You're getting an answering
It could
service.
very well be from India, or from anywhere. You can get an contract answering service from anywhere.
Now, they are doing, and I've asked the chief this, they are doing a lot of secretarial work for the police department. You know, they do invoices, they do faxing, they do reports, they do a lot of things. But that is not a $450,000 a year service,
Well, it's
okay?
news to most of the trustees on the board, I guess. 'Cause
Well-
They look flat against it.
Well, it's not news to us, okay? And the main reason is, Trustee Rivera has quite a bit of valid points, there's no doubt about it. But there are a lot of things that they do also, but the main reason, the main reason that 911 was shut down is because the village of Highland Falls residents did not want to go there. So that's the main reason,
I don't think that was a referendum.
well, I'm just telling you that when I ran, and a lot of people did not want to go to 911. I had people that said, I called
Well, they're
911.
911 regardless. It's going there anyway.
They're calling the police department, and they are just, that's the way they want to do it. I mean, you know, I understand what you're saying, but there are a lot of things that our ambulance does, there are a lot of things our police department does also. So it's not all just that they're totally not capable of doing stuff. Jason, you're still with the you're still with the ambulance corps?
My meeting's on Friday,
Okay,
so I've spent 10 years there, yeah.
okay. So when, do you get a phone call from, Highland Falls to Highland Falls? Do they call for there, or is it, everything's just 911 for you
Everything
guys?
is for the most part now 911. However, the village also serves as a backup facility, to the best of my knowledge. It's the last time I was operationally capable of that. The village serves as a backup 911 center in case something catastrophic in the air happens, and we can get a local face to help us with issues, to the best of my knowledge.
All right, so listen,
And I'd just like to also add that usually, if a call comes into the local dispatch, a police officer is dispatched immediately. The police officer has Can I finish? Can I finish talking? Can I finish talking? Can I finish talking, sir?
Well, you're misrepresenting.
No, I'm not. I'm not misrepresenting, because if you dial
Well, you're
44...
ignorant. One of the two.
I'm ignorant. If you dial 446-4911, an officer is usually dispatched to your house. It's literally happened to members of my family while I've been at the house. So they have oxygen, they have sometimes have an AED, they can get to the patient immediately if they need to. So I'm not saying that, I am not saying that 911's not called, and I applaud Trustee Guerrero's information about all the things that the Town of Highlands Ambulance Corps does with Mobile Life. They do a great job, I agree with that. But the initial call comes in, the initial dispatch comes in, the dispatcher knows exactly where to send the officer first. Usually they're the first on the scene, followed by the 911 call, followed by the ambulance, followed by Mobile Life as needed. Listen, we had a consolidation vote, okay? We had it already.
Well, it wasn't consolidated.
Hold on a second. We had it.
About 911.
We had a consolidation dissolution vote already. We had it. You wanna talk about getting rid of the, here's an easy way to do this. You wanna get rid of dispatch? Put it on the ballot in March. Put it on the ballot. If the residents wanna get rid of it, then they'll vote it out. If they don't wanna get rid of it, then they won't, they'll vote to keep it. You wanna do it that way? Give the people the information, give the people the decision. If they wanna get rid of the local dispatch, then vote on it.
They have to have the
But,
information, not the
No matter what the results are, can we accept them? Can we say now that we're gonna accept them? No, we won't.
This is a
Exactly.
misrepresentation.
It's not a
Gary
misrepresentation.
and Jim, the people did not vote on 911. They voted on dissolution. These are not one and the same. You're making
Dissolution would have meant
assumptions.
dissolving
No,
the
no,
police
no, no.
department and communications.
Dissolution, this is why we're still here.
Yes, it would have.
Because they voted for us to stay.
Now
as
we're
a
being
village
ignorant.
board, okay? They did not vote on 911, they voted on dissolution. So you're
So
making,
put it on
it's
the-
not
so put it
one
on
and
the
the
ballot.
same. You're
Put it on the
making
ballot.
assumptions.
Put it on the ballot.
You know, when you teach your children
Is that a
in
motion to put it on the
school,
ballot?
you know, oh, that would be fantastic.
Put it on the
Okay,
ballot then.
We can put it on the ballot.
Look,
If
the
the-
police,
it's,
the police are looking for an increase because of the cost of living and everything else. Highland Falls is only 1 square mile. There was a building down near West Point, main gate, that's not there anymore. So the taxes on that building is now null and void. Yes, on the property, but that would mean the building and the property. So all you got is an empty lot. So these men in blue who have a bullseye on them, I don't blame them, you know, we all want to make a living. But cuts have to be made. If they want a cost of living, and they deserve a cost of living, but the tax base where you guys get the money to divvy up and say, yeah, we're gonna give you an increase or this and that, you've got to start making cuts. The house is burning. And the fire brigade is on the street looking at it. Because nobody isn't doing anything. You have to make cuts and redistribute the money where it's warranted to be. Not because, and I'm not going to be cruel about this, look, I worked in the building trades all my life. Got to the top of the building, did my job, I got my layoff check, because there was nowhere else for me to go. Went back to the hall, went on unemployment. For somebody to say to me that somebody is entitled to a job, you are not entitled to nothing. You have to work for it. You don't get it because you're buddies with somebody, or you play poker with somebody, or because you're afraid to commute, or because your family is more important than anybody else's family.
Mike, let me.
That's right.
Let me.
That's
You
right.
have to, you have to make cuts.
I'll tell you what I'm gonna do.
No, I don't know what he's talking about.
We're gonna look, we're gonna,
Run for office then, bud.
can I?
Run for office.
Disrespect the people.
You run for office since you know it all. You can be on here with your wife.
Oh my goodness, Mr. DeSalvo,
What?
yes.
Okay.
I didn't say anything bad.
Mike, I don't disagree with anything you said. Believe me, I always say we have to get creative how we raise money, and getting creative is not sending my neighbor a tax bill. That's not being creative. I've said that for years. Being creative is going after grants, it's going, I don't know, it's a whole lot of different ways. Sometimes we've been successful, and sometimes we haven't been. When 911 first came into existence, and for many years after that, we would get, a lot of us would hear stories, it didn't work, they sent them to they sent them to Highland instead of Highland Falls, and the communications didn't work. I think a lot of that now has gotten better. There's more towers up, and I think that's better than it ever was. I think at one time, maybe it was a problem for us, maybe not Goshen in the heart of where 911 is, but it was definitely a problem over here. I think some of that, if not all of that's been corrected. We do have budget coming up. We'll start in early January. It's pretty soon, believe it or not. And we'll have our workshops. But I'm worried about the next 2 or 3 years because of this, because of the debt we have just incurred on the OR. and I appreciate the last meeting you saying all about all the debt and the numbers and everything, but then you also said something to the effect, but we still had to do that working on the aura, and I appreciate that. And there's more work we have to do under the ground. There's more. But those bonds are going to come home to roost in 2 to 3 years. Not yet, but in 2 to 3 years, it won't be a question of do we want to go to 911, it's going to be a question we have to, because we need that money, that $450,000 to pay our debt. That's my opinion. That's what's going to happen. I know that's what's going to happen. That's not an opinion. Where we get the money from to pay the debt in 2 to 3 years will be up to the board and who's ever sitting up here. So I say all that to you. I promise this community, I will look into 911 again with professionals. I am not a professional. I will get the police chief. I will have the captain of the ambulance corps on the committee. We'll set up a committee and let the committee of professionals who use the radios come back and tell us what to do, or suggest anyway what we should do. That's what I'm going to do. I wrote it down. That's what I'm going to do. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in a month. But once I name a committee, it'll get done. And I'm not talking about a year from now. Okay? That I'll do. I don't know where it'll end up. I have no clue. Okay? But we'll have professionals on the committee, not me.
It's a start.
All right? So let's let it go at that tonight. And I promise you, right here, dispatch, group to look at 911. It's right there. Okay? If I write it down, I do it. If I don't write it down, believe me, I forget. Yes.
Gentleman for DPW worker. I'd just like to know, as the village board, is there nothing being done about the superintendent's position right now at all?
No, that's not accurate.
There's nothing being done? Okay.
No, you said there's nothing.
Superintendent, not supervisor, superintendent.
Yeah, that's not accurate.
It's not active? There's nothing being done about it?
Wow.
We haven't settled on anything.
No,
We haven't
Yeah.
settled on it. We
nothing's
So
changed.
it's just gonna be a void for a while?
Well, we'll see.
We're just gonna have to listen to a contractor?
No, you're not listening to a contractor, and you already know, you know what? If you want to talk about this, come see me tomorrow. I'm not doing personnel at an open meeting. If you want to talk to me about this, you come downstairs.
sir.
Anytime you want, I'll be there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can I just make one mention of that?
Talk about Pablo.
At the last
Oh, I
village
didn't talk
board
about Pablo.
meeting, I made a motion to hire Mr. Polito as a DPW supervisor. We need it, and it's a working supervisor job, okay? And the vote that I got is a no, a yes, and 2 abstains based on pending his water license, which he should have, hopefully, if he passes it, tomorrow. So maybe at the next village board meeting, we can vote on it again if he were to get his license
if I may.
tomorrow.
Okay.
Even if you approved him, he still would have been gone for 2 weeks, so it would have been, we still would have been, the same thing.
He would have been gone for 2 weeks.
in a training for 2 weeks.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, no, it is.
Okay,
even if we
so
put it in order, they don't transfer
you as a DPW employee and those others in the room and those watching at home via TV, some folks in this room know how much time I have spent on the highway department lately. A tremendous amount of time. I have a lot of things that are on the front burner. Forget the back burner. I have a lot of things on the front burner. And the one that's on the front burner, if there is such a thing, the most is the highway department. Okay, so I'm taking care of it, we're gonna take care of it. Okay, is there any other comments? Okay. What I'd like to say is that on the village website is our comp plan, I like to say comp/zoning. Ron, so you'll see it. It's a lot of pages, but it's there for anyone to look at. I hope most of the community looks at this. There's on this document, there'll be a public input meeting, not a public hearing, but public input on this document at 6 p.m. at the Senior Citizen Center on December the 8th. On December the 8th at 6 p.m. Senior Center, will be public input on this document, okay? I do,
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
before you move on, because I want to mention that I already read that whole thing. It's 110 pages, and it's full of inaccuracies. And actually, it looked like a cut and paste job from prior papers. Even the dates are all wrong, and the topics that are on there are all wrong. So I was wondering, because the holidays are here, and if we really want a public opinion, or the most out of a public opinion, is it possible to delay it to after the new year?
I can make it in January. I know that there were folks, I stayed away from Christmas and I went after Thanksgiving, but we can make it in January. Is there a reason we can't, Gina? No, okay. So how do the rest of you feel? Wait till January?
That's fine, I have no issues with
It'll be Christmas shopping.
that. Yeah.
Okay, gives you another night. All right, I'll come up with another,
Can we decide on the 5th to move it or not?
On
We have a regular meeting on the 5th of December. Can we decide at that meeting?
So you want to delay the delay? Okay.
okay, so
Well, I
decide,
haven't completed reading the entire thing yet, so I'd like to get through the whole thing.
Yes.
Well, there's one day in the
Okay.
report that mentions December 8th, and we're not even in December 8th. It's,
it's okay.
believe me, I'm not savvy with computers, but I think a 16-year-old that's well into computers looks like they did it. I mean, no offense.
What, do you want to just do it to the first meeting in January?
I don't want to do it on a meeting night. There's a lot here.
Oh, so what day did you want to move it to, Melanie?
Maybe the first meeting in January that we
I
have,
just suggested
The
that,
first.
and that was a no.
one day.
I don't want to do it, this should not be done at a meeting night.
Oh, okay.
Because there's too much then. I'll do it on, how about Thursday after the first
Well,
Monday?
the 8th was a Thursday. So the 6th? Want to do Thursday the 6th?
Of January?
Yeah,
That's a Thursday?
yeah.
If that's good for you, I'll do it.
I'm assuming are we
Oh,
gonna
we're
have
not
anything
here,
on the
I'm
6th?
sorry.
I think
I'm
you
actually,
asked Jim Martin.
sorry, I'm on vacation.
Yeah, I gotta ask Martin if he can come.
Oh.
But you're saying that, what date is good for you?
No, any date's fine, I just was picking the first week in January.
I'll talk to Jim Martin tomorrow and I'll email you all with one or two dates and see what's the best, okay? I need everyone there, so if it's not good, we'll pick another date. It can't be 4 of us or 3 of us. Okay. In the meanwhile, this is on the village website. Don't wait for the date the public input. Start to read it now. There's some really good stuff in here and some changes in here. That's what you need to look at, okay? The last thing I have is planning board. As I mentioned earlier, there is a term that's up in January of 2023. So if there's anyone out there that wishes to be on the planning board, including the term of the person who is up, or anyone else, send a note in to myself, 303 Main Street, or to the village clerk, 303 Main Street, of your interest. Okay, thank you. Okay, Gary?
Yeah, I just have a couple of things. Bottom panel, we're at 90 inches, around 45%. Water plant's producing 538,000 gallons a day. There was 1-inch service line repaired at 201 Main Street. Jack Sibley, the water superintendent of the water department, got a report of brown water on Deer Park. He went around, he listened to the hydrants, didn't hear any leaking, but he's still looking into it. So
There were
that's,
several homes, Gary.
yeah, there were several homes over there that he got a call today, and he gave me a call, and he's out there looking at it, so he's gonna go around and keep an eye on that. Another thing is, we put in for, Jack put in for last week, Orange County Water Authority. This is a 2022 leak detection program application that he filled out. This is where they go around municipalities and they detect any kind of leaks in the area. It's no cost to the taxpayers. They do that, and they done it in 2019 at 21 participating municipalities, and the contractor found over 141 leaks totaling over about 630,000 gallons of treated water being lost per day. Once the leaks were repaired, there's an estimate that municipalities saved approximately $4.2 million a year. So that's something that's gonna be good for everybody. Just another, a little tidbit I had here. You know, we're worried about conserving water and saving water. Right now, we're getting into the colder temperatures. So, you know, especially when you're in first thing in the morning, I go into work at, 4 o'clock in the morning, and you turn on that shower and it's damn cold in there. So a good idea is, which we do, and you put a bucket catching that cold water first, and that bucket could be used around the house to water your plants, put it down the toilet to, save water that way. It's clean water, it'd be given to the pets or whatever, so that's just an idea, instead of wasting a bunch of, I don't know, maybe, depending upon, maybe 3-4 gallons before the water turns hot on you. So it's just an idea for you guys. And the last thing I have is, the tree situation up there on Mountain Avenue, up there at the water plant by the water towers. There was information that was put out the last board meeting that was not correct, okay? Because of the trees that are being cut down now were not the ones that were being 15 years ago. These are trees that are up there that are being taken down from the water treatment plant up there. This year is going down, they're gonna be cleaning out all this brush and everything down there. As you could see, I got pictures, they cleaned up side the mountain where it was not the area where they did it, that was not done there 15 years ago. And there's no way our guys can be taking down trees, no matter how much money we would think we save, because we are not equipped for that. And if our guys, such as the DPW workers, cut down trees, and they hit one of those tanks, which one has 1 million gallons of water, and the other one has 500,000 gallons of water, it's gonna cost the taxpayers a lot of money to repair them, because we made a mistake. Our guys are not tree guys, they're not equipped to do that. The contractor we have doing that, they're, like I said, they're far away from what the area is. They do maintain around the area. I was up there, I took these pictures, I went around with Jack the other day, I met the guy Steve, who is the project foreman for that situation that's being done up there. Like I said, these were not the trees that were done, and if these guys wreck our tank, these guys are insured. So that's just the update on those tree situations. There's a little bit of clarity compared to last meeting that we had. So, but, and to everybody, just be thankful for what you have and have a great and Thanksgiving to all, so.
Gary, thank you very much. I like the tidbits about that water business, saving the water for your plants or your pets. It's clean water.
Yeah, it is clean water. It's,
What I want to say is, as you did, the reservoir is at 45%, not a number, I wish it was higher.
Yes.
So still, when you can, it's hard now that you're not outside watering, so try to still conserve inside. And we are, Bog Meadow's valve is shut off. We're not drinking Bog Meadow water, we're drinking Glycerin Hollow water.
Correct.
Which helps Bog Meadow build up in the meantime. So, thank you.
Yeah, we are up there, yeah.
Gary, I'm sorry, just one thing about that, the tree business. Sorry, Mr. DeSalvo.
It's okay, no problem.
But, at the meeting, when this was talked about the $33,500 that it was gonna cost to clear the trees, the engineer was there. Todd Atkinson was at that meeting, and when I asked that question, why is it costing us $33,500? That was the answer that he gave. And that was because we didn't maintain the saplings that were around the water tank. Now, I get it, you're showing us pictures of which trees are being cut down, but I think the idea is, if we knew that those trees were gonna grow 13 years later to be a problem, the idea was to keep cutting things down as we go along, so that it doesn't cost $33,500. But thank you for the information.
Well, these 80-foot trees have been there a lot longer than 13 years, trust me.
So why
Yeah.
didn't we do it 13 years ago? if
Well,
it
I was
there.
on the board 13 years ago,
Me too, yeah.
but this one tree has a marking on here that's down low, it says like 1970.
Right, so 13 years ago, when we're clearing everything around that
Yeah.
water tank, why wasn't that one of the trees that was cut down then? I guess, but you're right, you and I weren't on the board.
Maybe it was nostalgic, had somebody's initials in there, I don't know. I really don't know, but it did say initials in 1970. But they are maintaining around the area, and a lot of that stuff is bamboo also.
Yeah, a couple quick things. Sewer plant's running well. There's a lot of different things that the sewer department takes care of. Most importantly, they noted that for October 2022, there was 5.6 inches of precipitation. The facility meets all New York State DEC SPDES permit limitations. They took care of items at Pellwood and Webb Lane pump stations. Influential pump system. There was an issue with one of the pumps at the sewer plant. It's well over its life expectancy. They did have to bring in a portable one from TAM to rebuild. Again, some of these pumps are 20 plus years old. They can't even get fixed anymore. There's no more parts. So that had to be taken care of and was accomplished, and things are working fine down at the sewer plant. A huge shout out to the county executive of Orange County and West Point Highland Falls Rotary Club. We were able to secure a bunch of turkeys for the Holy Innocents turkey giveaway. They give meals that they actually contract this year. Since COVID, they've done things a little differently. They contract out with the Park Restaurant and Kevin Pozo down there and those folks, and they were able to give out meals, but they also do baskets. So when Rotary stepped in, I kind of said, hey, we'll figure out getting the turkeys. Put a call into the county executive's office. He called ShopRite in Vales Gate. It was a nice little mesh and flow of government and civic organizations. I ran around, got the turkeys, and delivered them. It worked out very, very well. So a shout out to all those folks. And that's all. And again, wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving and all the best to your families.
Fine.
We met with the police chief, Joe, Melanie, myself. We talked a lot about what it was like to come in, some of the changes she would like to see. We talked about probation officers, and they will be evaluated monthly. We now have 5 field reps. Everyone who's brand new has to be with a field rep. So the evaluations are going to change. We're still looking at cameras and things of that nature. Getting back to the superintendent, DPW, we just learned tonight there might be another person I'll be interviewed too. John Jones should be one of them. That's my opinion. And so we're going to get on it and we'll let you know exactly what happens. But it's going to take a little time to work out.
I can't,
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
Next time. But if you move him from where he is to a new department, now you're missing a guy, that's all. Sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. It's okay. Look,
It's common sense.
it's okay. I got you. Ma'am.
Michael, I agree, I'm confused too. John said something about a superintendent, now Brian had mentioned something about a superintendent. The position that's open, and the position that we interviewed for, and the position that was vetted by civil service is for a DPW supervisor, not a superintendent.
Well, some of us want a superintendent.
A superintendent job, so that the people are not confused, is a purely administrative position. It's a
so true.
100% paper pusher, desk job. That at almost twice the cost in salary of what a foreman or DPW supervisor is salaried for. So I'm getting confused as to what is being pushed here. I'm getting a sense that Mr. John Jones, like you mentioned, that we took away that second salary that he was illegally getting for 4.5 years. He had 2 salaries, 2 positions. We were violating civil service law. I discovered this 4 months ago. And when I went to the board and said, why are we doing this? We're breaking the law. This cannot happen. I got pushback from you, pushback from Mr. DeSalvo.
A difference
and
doesn't
you
mean a
just-
pushback. A difference does not mean a pushback. It doesn't have to be personal all the time.
Oh, sir, but you wanted to continue this illegal activity. And we finally got to the point at the last village board meeting when we say, we cannot break the law anymore. Let's
No
get
one's
rid
saying
of
break
it.
the law.
And now, what I'm hearing you say is that you want to give that position in a different envelope, in a different form,
I do.
at a higher salary, back to your friend. It's
It
political
has nothing to do with
favoritism.
friends, no. Instead of
This is-
having 2 people, you would have 1, just like we do now.
But we have a DPW supervisor position that's open, that we interviewed
Just-
for, that costs half that much.
Just so the public knows, tonight in executive session, we heard yet another candidate for the position. So now we have 3 candidates for this position, the supervisor position.
Jim, you're
Keep that in
confusing
mind.
the
Keep that,
public.
just keep the public that in mind. We heard another candidate's name tonight. So we went through 3 people.
That's not true. But
Most certainly true.
I was in the same executive session as you were. The
Most certainly
third
true.
person that is being brought in, or being, we're contemplating, is somebody to bridge the gap until we actually get the DPW supervisor filled.
It's a third
Which
candidate.
we voted on, not a superintendent.
No, I
An
didn't say
interim
that.
DPW supervisor until we get the DPW supervisor filled.
Right.
That's the position that was
Third
being
candidate.
discussed. So why are you confusing the public?
I'm not.
I think you
I didn't
think the
confuse them. I
public
just said
is.
there's 3 candidates.
Okay,
I think-
all right, okay. No, I can't do no, that's,
Well, I'm just gonna make a point that you made, where there's gonna be bonds coming in the next 3 years. And
It's gonna be-
I saw the look on your face.
Oh, I'm serious about it.
Where are we gonna get the money
I don't know.
to pay these bonds? But now, we can fill this position with a working DPW supervisor, but we wanna hire a guy who's a paper pusher for the amount of 100 and something grand. And I can see the look on your face, and you're there, and like, where is the taxpayers of Highland Falls gonna find this money and pay the bonds that are due
So
in
let
2
me,
years?
I'm gonna wrap this up. Thank you. I'm gonna wrap it up by this. When we all talk and people listen and contradictions and different things, whatever you wanna call them. There's 2 positions, and Mike, I will say that you understand, it. What you just said, you definitely understand it. There's 2 positions. There's a highway superintendent and there's a highway supervisor. The highway superintendent's position, if we choose to go that way, I have the job description right here, is a position where that man or woman supervises, doesn't do the work. It's not allowed. It's not allowed, okay? The supervisor, not superintendent, now we go 1 step down. The supervisor, and people my age would call it a foreman, is a working position. That man or woman is gonna have to work, get in the ditch, rake leaves, pick up, shovel snow, whatever. For the superintendent's position, there are 2 folks that we have paperwork on to be considered. On the supervisor, i.e. foreman's position, there are, not counting Mr. Jones, there are 2. If you want to count Mr. Jones, then you'll say 3. But I'm not quite sure that he would want to drop down to that position. But that would be up to him if he was offered that. So I don't want to confuse anyone, but that's what we have before us. That's on the front burner. That's what I'm talking about with everyone. I know everyone likes to laugh and Joe this and Joe that. Well, Believe me, this is nothing. There's 3 times this downstairs. These guys all laugh at me in a kidding way. You got more folders than Staples. Every folder is a project that is still in the works.
And Mike, you
So-
know, a good superintendent can also visit the sites and make sure the work's getting done.
That's his
and look
job.
at it then.
That's his job.
But,
Supervisor.
Okay, look, I can't. Let me just leave it at that before we go all get into it again.
I was in the union too, this is push papers.
Okay, I will take,
One quick thing. Just one quick thing. Just so the public knows and the folks in the audience and maybe some of the board members, the bonds that we talk about for water and sewer cannot be paid out of general fund, which general fund has to directly do with your property taxes. So whether we cut dispatch, whether we cut all the DPW, whether we get rid of all the police officers, whether we get rid of everything, and we're just gonna go on handshakes and rainbows and unicorns.
This is not a shell game.
the debts-
All the money comes from the people.
The debts that the water and sewer undergo for those bonds have to be paid out of the water and sewer fund.
and Jim,
So
Jim
that's just bottom
Jim
line.
is correct, but I just wanted, Jim is totally correct, but I just want to point out, and everyone up here knows it, there's a third job, there's sewer work in Ondarroa Park, millions. There's water lines, Ondarroa Park, millions. And then there's stormwater. Now, the stormwater, which is millions, will come out of general fund. So still the general fund's going to get hit. We're all on the same page. Okay, I'll
All
take,
paying for it.
yeah.
it doesn't matter.
I'll take a motion to
And
adjourn.
I will say this, if we do end up cutting a position, if the people want positions cut, that money's going back to the taxpayers. It's not going into a black fund that the
I
rest
have
of
a
the board
motion
member
to
wants to do.
adjourn. Do I have a second?
You gotta make some.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Gary. All in favor?
Yes.
Melanie and Gary. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you so much.